Hello everybody, good afternoon. Thank you for attending the DMLT presentation. So today we're going to talk about accelerating your transition into S4HANA with the DMLT automation solutions. So just to give you a little bit of background. That's better, thank you very much. Thanks, Orchid. Okay, so I am Tracy Pawson from SAP, DMLT. So DMLT, you'll remember, used to be known as SLO, System Landscape Optimization. We've recently changed the name to Data Migration and Landscape Transformation. SLO and DMLT have been around for 20 years, and one of our first services was actually the Euro conversion. So with the European Union. So that was about 20 years ago. So we've just had our 20-year big kickoff party. So in South Africa, there's a couple of us, engagement architects. So we will deal with the customers as they come in. They will have different services, different requirements. We will get in touch with the customers and actually have a look at what service they're looking for. So generally we do currency conversions, fiscal year changes, we do mergers and acquisitions, we do our huge migration, which is obviously the move from your SAP environment to your S4 or into RISE, and RISE could even be you moving into ECC in RISE. So there are various number of solutions that we do actually cater for. We have DMLT is global, so we do have offices in North America, Latin America, South Africa. South Africa, there's a couple of my colleagues here, we run South Africa, Africa, and also a couple of the Middle East. So Dubai, Saudi, we get involved in some of those. It doesn't actually keep us to those areas. We're running with stuff in France, we're running with stuff within UK, but there's a team in Germany, there's a team in Singapore, in Japan, in Asia, in Australia, so we are all over. So we generally, now that we are working remotely, we actually just all pitch in. So let's just go through. So these are some of the questions that customers will have for us. And we actually try and help them narrow down their questions and obviously their transition paths. So going into some of the first questions, customers needing to decide which transition path they need to take. So you will have a customer will be coming from an ECC, wanting to go to S4. We will try and help them to find the quickest, the shortest path to actually get to S4. You've also got some customers, their CEOs and their COOs want to clean up their business. Obviously, there's been COVID. Some businesses have fallen away, but they haven't cleaned up their data in their systems. So we actually carve that out. Or moving to S4, you can actually leave that data behind and actually take the data that you want to actually take across to maximize your business. Looking at your business strategy and your IT strategy. So you are going to try and find the best, and this is also where the CEOs and the sponsors of the projects and the customers, you are going to try and find the best solution for your business. So leave stuff behind. You also don't want a huge environment where you've got multiple systems. So we do a lot of system consolidations, splits, mergers, divestitures, all these different services. With regards to your data and your accuracy of your data and the quality of your data, so we do have quite a lot of services, and as we mentioned on the first slide with regards to automation, we have automated many services within DMLT, and Augusta Spirinelli has put a lot of money into that for the last year or two, so that we can actually automate. So while you're in the process of moving from ECC to S4, or you're going from legacy to S4, there is a lot of our solutions that you can actually do on the fly. So it'll come down to your Unicode conversion. There's a lot of projects that you actually have to have as a pre-project, but you can actually do that on the fly. So your Unicode conversion, your customer vendor integration. I'm not too sure if we've actually got the solution for currency, because currency is slightly tricky and it's not very generic. So with customers, it's very specialized and each customer wants something. You can do a company code carve out. You can do a company code merge. You might have numerous company codes that you actually want to merge into a few. Going to S4, we can actually do that. We do that on the fly. And obviously when we do that, you update your history data and you can move that into S4 as well. So everything is updated and it looks like it was always running like that in the system. With regards to, and that's what I've just spoken to now about the acceleration. So that is just helping your timeline getting into your S4. We can actually accelerate that with these automated solutions. Looking at you managing your transformations and moving into the intelligent enterprise. This will come down to your simplification list and obviously simplifying your landscape. So your system consolidations, you don't want to pay excess licenses. You want to actually bring that down. You want to narrow it down and actually have it quite nice and tidy in your new target. Looking at the validity and the completeness and the correctness of your migration. Another automation solution that we have is BDT, so it's your business testing, so validation. It's called your Landscape Transformation Validation Framework. That will actually help the customer. So what we do is we run reports in your source system, in your ECC system, and then you can run them in your S4, and then you can actually compare them. The customer, if they have customized reports, can also do that. And we will actually include that into the tool, and we can run it in the source, run it in the target, and then it's easy to compare and to validate. With regards to your data protection, so this is a very big thing in Europe with data protection and privacy. So it's also about cleaning up your data. If you've had people that have left your company, HR, then normally you've got your employees that linger around. It's about cleaning that up and actually just having your data. So you've got what you need, the bare minimum of what you need. And then obviously accelerating your mergers and acquisitions. So it's just getting people into their targets a lot quicker. So I think customers look at it and they say, this is going to be a 2-year project. And we've been on 2.5-year projects. And it's it's too long. So you can look at, mergers and acquisitions, depending on what your scope is. You can look at anything from 6, 8 months to 12 months, depending on your scope and how much data you're taking with you. Okay, so these are the 3 areas within DMLT. Your data management. We have the transition into the intelligent enterprise, and then we have our landscape optimization. These are the 3 areas, just in a little bit more detail. So you have your data management. So it is your data quality, and that's what we've spoken about now. We do have advisory services. You can see at the top, it's advisory services for data migration. That is a data migration architecture and a data migration design, which is a DMA and DMD. You also have an SPW, which is a selective data planning workshop. And that is actually, you can see in the middle, we'll come to that now with selective data transition. But this is also master data management. It's getting your data into, to be governed, your MDG. Looking at your data volume, your retention and your compliance. If you are moving your data, and you're leaving some data behind that you don't want to take to S4, then have a look at ILM, Information Lifecycle Management, where we can archive that data. If you needed to pull that data for reporting purposes from your S4, you can you can pull it and it's actually seamless. So it'll actually pull into your reports, but at least it's not contained within your S4. Again, your data protection and privacy, we've spoken about that. And then big data and data integration. So that is just linking up your systems, integrating your systems and integrating your data. I'm sorry. So we've actually just been through that, the data quality. So also some of the other services that we do have, an advisory service is your data quality. So we do have a data health check. We have run this at many customers where you can go in, you can have a look at the quality of your main areas like your customer, your vendor, your material master, and you can actually pick up some issues. We do actually help with cleaning if that's what you want, or sometimes the customer will do that on their own, but we do help with that. I've been through the ILM, master data, integration and protection. So 3 transition areas that we have with regards to moving into the intelligent enterprise. So we have our advisory services that I mentioned, the DMA, DMD, and then we have 3 scenarios. So, and I'm sure people will know about that. You have your new implementation. You have your selective data transition, which is a bit of a hybrid in the middle. It's a bit of a mix and match between the green fields and the brown fields, and brown fields being your system conversion. So system conversion, you are taking your entire system as is, you're converting it to an S4, and you're moving it into your target area, wherever that is. So it's in your private cloud or it's in RISE, but you are taking your entire system. So preferably to clean up your data prior to that, clean up your custom code if you don't want to take that to S4, but it's an easy conversion. They do the conversion and they move everything as is to S4. So I think it's one of your quickest ways to go to S4. A new implementation, this is our longest project duration and the most costly. You are starting basically from scratch. You take your master data, your open items and balances. You take nothing else. So you are starting clean. You're starting with new processes. It's all new. If you want to take something from your old system, you actually have to manually take it across. Okay. With the selective data transition, and this is where we play a huge part, we have most of our projects in this area. I have a customer at the moment in the UK where we're going to do a selective data transition. They are on ECC and it's actually a carve out. So it's actually they're divesting that part of their business. So what we will do is also to not have too many licenses for the customer to pay. We are creating an ECC shell. It's got your config and your customizing, no application data whatsoever. We convert that to an S4. That's actually going into RISE. And then we will selectively take the 5 company codes and put them into the S4. So when they get into RISE, they only pay the 1 S4 license. The other way that we could have done it is you could have taken your ECC, created a shell, put that into RISE, but then you'll pay an ECC license, convert that to an S4, but it's almost like you've got 2 downtimes, which you don't want to do, because you've got your downtime when you're copying and to your ECC, moving that into RISE, then you actually have to arrange the conversion and convert that to S4. So we're doing that all in one step. There is another way of doing that, which is called a company code clone. You would clone their entire ECC system, delete everything you don't want, and then you would actually convert that to an S4. That would work. For this customer, it won't work. They've got a 14 terabyte system, and we're only taking 500 gigs across. So to go and delete 13 and a half is it's mad. So yes. So we'll do that. And sorry, also just another comment. With selective data, we use our very specialized DMLT tools, Migration Workbench. And with that, you can take history across. So that's why with the new implementation, there's no history involved in that. Obviously, your system conversion, it's your entire system, so that whole thing will go. Okay, but selectively, you can also actually be quite selective. You can actually time slice your data. So any of your history, you've got 20 years in your system. You don't want to take all of that. You want to take 5 years or 2 years, then we can do that. Anything that's open to those 2 years will also be taken across. We won't break that relationship. Okay, so obviously, why do we choose selective data transition? Our customers require a solution for the transition and adaptation of our critical business processes into the future-ready platform. So I'm sure that everyone knows that If you're on a lower version of ECC, you need to move to S4 by 2025. If you're on Enhancement Pack 7 or 8, you have got until 2027 to move to S4. This is just another diagram with regards to the system conversion. Obviously, totally brown, you're keeping all your data, you are keeping all of your processes, you are reusing everything that you have in your system. A new implementation, you're not even taking any of your furniture. It's a brand new house. You are redesigning your processes, you're starting from scratch, and you actually have to go and manually your functional team will actually activate those processes. And then selective data, you've actually got a bit of a mix and match. You can leave stuff behind, you can take what you need to. You'll actually see where you fall depending on how much you would like to take with you. So with this, why SDT to move to S4HANA? Exactly that. So selective innovation, you're taking your processes that you need and that you require to actually live in your new house, in your S4 system. So you're very selective, and it's not that you have to start from scratch. You're actually just starting midway. Selective history, it's exactly that. So a lot of customers require their history or require some of their history. So the SDT allows you to do that you can actually cherry pick the data that you would like to take across. Transformation on the fly, so that is speeding up the process, and that's got to do with your Unicode conversion. You can do a lot of that on the fly. Your CVI, your merging, your divesting, you can leave company codes behind that you no longer require. So that just actually, instead of having a single project prior to you starting your transformation journey, you can actually do that on the fly. Then your splitting and restructuring and consolidation. We have quite a couple, well, we've got a customer in France at the moment where they have an ECC 6 and they have an ECC 4.6, and they want to merge them. So ECC 4.6 it's quite outdated. So what we have to do is convert the ECC 6 to an S4, and then we have to treat the ECC 4.6 as a legacy system. So we actually have to do an SDT, cherry pick the data that they want to take across and merge that into the production S4. And then we have phased approaches. So this also comes down to the customer, whether you want to do a big bang or whether you want to do a phased approach. So it all goes, each customer is different. It depends on how long you can be down. Some customers can't be down for 48 hours or longer than 48 hours. So you would actually just break it up and do it in smaller chunks. This is just some customer references. So we've got GPA. This is a retailer in Latin America. So they had a huge system of 70 terabytes, and they wanted to move to S4, and they decided they were only taking 17 company codes. It came to 7 terabytes, so they left a lot of data. They archived that, and this was actually just seven hours downtime. Then we have NEC. This was a system consolidation. They actually merged the two systems. Vitra, that is a family-owned office furniture company, and there's actually a video at the bottom that you can play if I'm sure the slides will go out. It's quite a nice video, and exactly that. So they had quite a big system and they moved to S4, and but it's quite a nice video if you would like to watch that. I think there was quite a lot involved with their finance system. That was quite complicated, but obviously we went through the 3 test cycles, your dry run and your go live. Here's just some more. So there was the Japan Tobacco Company. Then we had Cheravi, so that is a retailer as well in Mexico. Also a really huge system. And they also took a small portion of their system across and obviously archived the rest. And then Sappi also did a conversion where they actually did a shell conversion and moved to S4. But there's some links, so you can actually just have a look at those links if you wanted more information. Then we come to our landscape transformation. So let me just see if there's another. Here we go. So this is our more complicated solutions. They're smaller solutions, but they are actually quite complicated and quite specialized. So divestitures, so we've got mergers and acquisitions. So this comes to your company codes where you're splitting or you're actually merging. We have customers at the moment where we're actually running 2 phases, where in one, this is in S4, where we have one company code and we're actually splitting them into 3. So some data is remaining in the existing company code and we've actually split out data. So it's in the same system. You change all the history, you clear it in the old company code, and with the posting engine, you actually post it into the new company code, and it looks like the transactions were done. They've always looked that way. So that is the restructuring, the merging, and the divesting. Data harmonization. This comes to when you want to unify your data. You might have a couple of systems where you've got material codes. There's different material codes, different barcodes for the same product, and you want to harmonize it across the different systems, as well as changing all the history in the process. And that is also your fiscal period changes, your shortened fiscal years, you're changing your fiscal years, and also your currency code changes. Then your consolidation, this comes down to our France customer where they want to merge the 2 systems. And I mean, yeah, we've had it where you've had multiple systems, and some of them are non-SAP, some of them are SAP, and they're merging them into a single instance of S4. With regards to automation, so this is the investment that Augusta has made within DMLT, is to speed up data migration. So as I mentioned, the accelerate the transition to S4. On the fly solutions, if you're coming from a ECC system and you've got new GL and you want to move to classic GL, there's a whole conversion that goes through that. Your customer vendor integration, GRC, we've had requests where it's a standalone system, but when they go to S4, they actually want to incorporate it into the S4. So we do that. Business data validation, which is your landscape transformation data validation framework, and that is helping the customer test. So with regards to your reports, loading them into the system, as I mentioned, and you can actually do that comparison between the source and the target. And then decommissioning your systems after you've moved, your information lifecycle management. And as I mentioned, you have that total integration between S4 and your decommissioned system data. With regards to innovation, so accelerating your rollout, so that has to do with your mergers and your acquisitions. It is just speeding things up, and that's why we use the shell creation, as I mentioned. You will use that, you copy, it speeds up your config, your customizing. It doesn't have to be all recaptured and all redone. You can actually copy that into your shell. You can actually take your data across, and as I mentioned, you can either convert it before or after, but it also depends on your licenses and what's best for the customer. Advanced beyond product. So we've done a couple of POCs because currency conversions, we have all the solutions for ECC, and we've had to start redeveloping some of the solutions because they weren't available in S4. So we had a mining company where they did a currency change, and we had to do a POC for them, but that was basically their first test cycle, and then we actually went through the other test cycles. So that was great. And then also with HCM, and obviously migrating the payroll data to SuccessFactors Employee Central. And standardized scale. So company code deleting on S4, so that comes to your merging and your divesting, taking data out, carving data out from S4 to S4. Some customers have asked that. They actually want to split their businesses, but they actually want to have some of their company codes put into another system and just runs totally separate. So we can do that and facilitate that solution. These are our top 5 DMLT. These are our top 5 solutions that we run. So obviously migrating to S4, as we're quite busy at the moment because a lot of customers are moving, because obviously 25 is coming up and 27 is coming up. So we are quite busy with the migration to S4. The carve-outs and the splits, the mergers and the divestitures, we're very busy with that. A lot of customers are splitting, they're selling off, getting rid of some of their parts of their business. Data management, so with your privacy, cleaning of your master data. Also, it's quite a nice exercise when you when you start having a look at your data. You can actually see that you do need a little bit of help and a little bit of cleaning. So do that prior to moving. You can also do it afterwards. It's just what your preference is. System consolidation. So you want to narrow down your landscape. You want to get rid of some of your systems and actually have them incorporated into one. I suppose also that clean data, system consolidation, it helps with reporting. It helps with your month-end reconciliation, your year-end reconciliation. And obviously it helps management to start making decisions about where their business wants to go. And then your currency conversions. We've had plenty of currency conversions lately. Some people they've got a third currency and they don't want it to be that. They want it to be ZAR, it's USD and it's GBP, and so they're getting rid of some of their currencies in their system and just making things run easier with regards to reporting purposes as well. So how to reach out. We do have a global GCE, so GCE is Global Customer Engagement. We do have an inbox. So if a customer reaches out, they can just reach out to that email address and we do actually get the emails. They will actually send it to us. If it's South Africa or in Africa, it'll come to us. If it's really urgent, they just put it out to everybody and someone actually grabs it and gets onto it quite quickly. But you've got your account team within your business. You've got your SAP TQM solutioning center, and obviously the customer or the partners can reach out directly to us. This is just a little bit more information. So again, the email address for the GCE for DMLT. And then there are some solution briefs. It'll give you some more information with regards to finances, to logistics, your mergers and acquisitions. And DMLT, you should view all the compliance industry use cases. So DMLT does have a website. You can look at all of our solutions. There's a lot of information out there. And if need be, just reach out to us. And we can set up a call with a customer, set up a call with you. We can actually go through what it is you want to try and do or propose to do. And we'll try and get you there in the quickest and the easiest way. Those are my details. There's your service, the website, the service offerings for DMLT, which contains all the information. But you can reach out to me directly, or it doesn't have Awkward's details on there. But just reach out directly or go to the GCE inbox, and we'll get the message anyway. Okay. Any questions? Not you, Andy. Yes. Oh, I don't. Is there a microphone or something? Oh, it's the. Oh, sorry.
I'll have to shout.
It's okay. I can hear.
So, with the whole standardization of S4, how much data cleaning is there required for it before your SAP had lots of customization and all of that before you actually migrate?
So what we'll do is we will come and do an analysis first. So if you reach out, we will come and do an analysis of your system, and we can do a data health check and actually see what kind of situation your data is in. If you know you have some pain points in particular areas, that's where we would look first. And then we would actually have a look and see what needed to be done. Yes. Yes,
I think they had a lot of customization over the long period of the system they were using. How was that? Was that a challenge? And how long did that migration take?
that was 16 months. Yeah, and I think it was quite an intricate project because they did a lot of finance. So there was a lot of uh, fiddly finance when they had to move to S4. So, but that was 16-month project. Yeah, which wasn't too bad actually. Yeah, yeah, because you can't keep the customer in that testing process for too long. You actually have to move them as quick as possible. Yeah. Thank you.
Just to add a comment there, so in terms of the custom code and the certification, so generally we involve other colleagues from the business and we run reports in your system, readiness reports, and those reports we indicate them with the customizing that's happened and we indicate which business object uses and what your data looks like so that already at the analysis time there's a good indication of what level of certification is required, and obviously we have to work together with you then to decide how much you want to move back to standard. And then that is later on then considered when the migration happens to understand what business objects needs to move, what are the new processes. I think when Tracy spoke about it, she spoke about the selected data transition. And that all depends on how much you want to change your data, how much you want to change your process. If you just do a plain upgrade, then we probably don't get involved. You just do a software upgrade issue. But if it's something in between, or if it becomes complex, you want to change data, then it's really a sweet spot for within the OT to assist with the version transition and to the S4.
And just to add to that as well, you're talking about going to S4, right? Okay. So we had, this was prior to S4. We were on a banking project. And talking about customization, we could not, this was CRM, we couldn't upgrade from CRM 5 to CRM 7 because there was over 15,000 enhancements in the system. So they couldn't upgrade. So we had to do a migration from CRM 5 to CRM 7. That was a big project. That was about a two year. Hey, awkward. Yeah, yeah. That was a big project, but so hopefully it's not that many, but but yeah, then we definitely help you clean that up. Yes. Hello. Yes. So what we did is we incorporated that into S4. So S4 was, when it was ECC and GRC was a standalone system, we actually took that and incorporated it in. So the same with success factors. I think there is some data that you can actually incorporate into your S4. So obviously S4 containing a lot of your solution and a lot of your industries, so you don't have to have separate systems. But GRC you can incorporate into your S4. Yeah. So it doesn't have to be standalone, separate licenses, all of that. So no, so success factors is still separate. But there is some, Orchid was it the payroll data? Payroll data can be included into S4.
Yeah, maybe just to understand the question around S4, around success factors, you currently have success factors and you want to move it to S4 or?
Yeah.
That is something we can do, but in terms of the architecture and how to position architecture when you get the market, we should do that.
But you would, I think it would,
Success factors, it would be you move your HCM, your payroll to ECP, so that you've got the services around that. You want to consolidate your HR system with your new system, with your new S4 instance. You want, maybe you've got two systems and you want to bring it in. Or maybe you've got one system that you want to split. So those are the ones that you look at. You want to split it out and you want to take some of it to ECM. So there are some specifics around that, but in general, how the architecture, what your target architecture should look like, I can't comment around that.
yeah, it'll have to be a scoping session to do that. But I mean, it would basically be an STT from your GRC into S4 when you're ready to do that. But yeah, we would just contact us and we can always just set something up and get into the details.
So normally how we engage is, so you will reach out to us and based on the area of scope, we will send you a questionnaire that you need to complete. And that will give us some first initial indication of what type of skills we need for a scoping session, for a proposition. So maybe we can do something like that and then we'll have the right skill set to have a discussion about it. But that sounds like it's actually a bit of a larger discussion that is going to work through as well.
And the questionnaire also asks for some of your system details. So it's the size of your system. If you're carving out company codes, how many company codes are you carving out? How big is it? So the questionnaire gives us quite a lot of detail about what you are wanting to do. Yes.
This tool, when was it released?
Which tool? So there's many services that we do. Yeah. So there's many. So it's obviously moving from non-SAP to SAP to ECC to S4. It's currency conversions, fiscal period changes, carves outs, divestiges. We use different tools for different things. We do have a couple of workbenches. So we do have a conversion workbench, which we will use for currencies and for some of our carve outs. At the moment, where I'm doing that split of the company code from one company code, we've taken a whole portion of it. So depending on that company code, the plant, the profit centers, and so we just go down like that. We're moving that out to another company code, and we've actually got another list that we're taking out to another company code. We're using a scenario workbench for that. So we do have a conversion workbench, scenario workbench, and migration workbench. Migration workbench is used for the selective data transition.
The reason why I'm asking is I've just recently joined a company that did use a similar service. What they did is just carve out their own company codes, but there was more uncertainty on the number of customization because I think they had I think from what I could understand is that they ran the report and the report that came out is that they got 100,000 customization there. Some of it was valid and had never been used for a while.
Yeah.
But then there were some that the report said that had not been used but were actually being used. So I think the business was kind of uncomfortable about what if we take out something that will eventually break once the organization.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I think at that time I wasn't part of the project, but it looks like they only just went with just deleting just the company codes that were old, by management.
Were they cleaning it up, or were they actually carving it out?
They were actually cleaning it up.
Okay.
completely. So now we are in the process of moving to S4HANA.
Okay.
So, we've got a lot of customization, and I think in the next 2 years, that's the plan, to actually, spend the time to say, how do we prepare ourselves to get to S4HANA without all this customization, because, you don't want to move from one,
information is carried through to S4
Mm.
just because we don't have the time,
Mm.
to clean up, So I'm very interested.
I
But
know
I
you
just
must
want to know,
please. Yes.
if your services actually goes deeper, into us identifying so that we know what that impact is, if we take it out, how do we then deal with it?
Yeah.
How do we close the gap?
We do have custom code services, so we can actually, you go and import tools into your system and we actually run something to see your custom code. You also need to, and that's the discussion that we would need to have with you, because if somebody is going from ECC to S4, you need to decide if you're adapting to the new way of S4 or you're adopting, so you're taking all your old stuff and you're taking it to S4. So you just need to decide what your business process is, what you want to achieve at the end of the day. And then, like I said, with the selective data transition, there you cherry picking and taking some of your old, not all of your
Not
old.
all, yeah.
Yes,
The plan is, yes, not all, but some of it.
yes,
It's got to be like a small percentage.
yes,
It has to really add a lot of business, big business value. Because again,
exactly.
you don't want to move into S4
Mm.
and then you find that the stuff that that used to be, that used to add a lot of value
You don't have anymore.
and you don't have it.
Absolutely.
Like what a Ferrari bike still running and
Yeah. Yeah.
so but I'm really interested. So
Okay.
I'm definitely going to
Please, we can actually just have a chat afterwards. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's just about identifying what you want to take with you, what's necessary that you have, what's a have to have, and what you don't actually need. Because you're going into a beautiful new target, and you've got all of these new standard processes, so make the most of them. But if you have something that's absolutely critical, then just take it with you. Yeah.
because I was in that previous project where because of the time frame of moving into S4HANA, there wasn't enough time for them to actually do that sort of exercise. So you know how the business is. They get very uncomfortable about what is needed. And they went and brought all that old data from, the diversification,
Mm.
from the previous, being sold from the other company, the parent company, and they brought all the data. But that was also because of, that not being comfortable as to what if we do away with it and then we need it.
But then you just archive it. So what you do is you actually just put it into ILM, information lifecycle management, and it's there if you need it. It's like you think when you've been in a house for 15 years and you're hoarding stuff just in case you need it. We all know what happens there. Yeah. Yeah. Anyone? Yes. Thank you. Yeah. No, it's on its own. Yeah, it's on its own. That is something that we'll have that discussion with you to find out what's best for you, because in some cases, some people clean up afterwards, which I don't see the point. It's almost like the tail wagging the dog for me. So I always prefer to do it so that you go in clean. But some customers do it the other way around. So I think it's just personal preference, really. But
So it's actually a good question. So if you're a PV customer, we do have some services that you can actually call via your PV contract. That implementation strategy or your first, you can always do the DMA, which is the token operation
architecture.
architecture. And as part of that, you can look at data
Then you've got your data migration design. So that just goes into a deeper level, and then we can see how you want to migrate and what you want to migrate and what you want to get out of it. Your data health check is something else if you wanted to look at your actual data. We run the readiness checks and that, your custom code checks to see what you have in your system. Then you can actually, it's a bit of an exercise to go through and decide what you want to take, what you want to leave. But it's better to do that.
So the readiness checks report that the agreed of this is actually something different to specialized for criminal offenses. It's something completely different. When you look at the report, you'll notice, then also look at specific topics.
Yeah. Oh. Mm. Great. Fabulous. Because we can always just set up a call and then go through exactly what it is you're looking for, and then we'll delve into the details. Yeah. Great stuff. Yeah.
Most of the services is a basic complaint, but there is no template for a customer. Every customer is unique to the way that you implement your systems and the offerings that you so yeah, so you have to, we've got an approach and we have to figure out what's best for you. But obviously you need to also get a lot of input and then we go through the process. You'll be responsible for the testing to make sure that the process is small and continues to grow.
Because you know your data. So, yeah. It's very important. And then we're there. So in the process, you know, we raise defects. We also check some of the data ourselves, but you need to do the major checking because you know your systems and your processes. We raise defects, SAP sorts them out, whether we have to make a tweak to our code. We do that. If we can rerun it, we rerun it. If we can't, we have to rerun it in the next test cycle. But that's why you have numerous test cycles. So test cycle 2 will get better, test cycle 3 or your dress rehearsal, depending on your scope, how many test cycles you have. Okay. Anybody else? All right, guys, thank you so very much. Please just take our details down and please just reach out to us. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much, everybody.